Welcome to our explainer. Today, we are going to tackle a really fascinating cosmic puzzle. How is it possible that having the moon in Aries can lead to 9 completely different life paths?
I mean, it sounds kind of impossible, right? How can one single placement in the stars branch out into so many distinct outcomes? Well, today we are going to decode the cosmic formula for the moon in Aries, and we're going to do it by drawing directly from the ancient Mahasagari text to get our answers.
Okay, so first things first, to really get this, we need to understand the 2 key charts we'll be looking at, the main Rashi chart and the super important Navamsa chart. So think of it like this. The Rashi chart is your main birth chart, you know? It's the big picture, the foundational blueprint for your life. But the Navamsa, that's like zooming in on a tiny piece of that blueprint to see the really fine details. It's a much deeper divisional chart that reveals all the hidden potential and the true inner self, and it shows how the promises in that main chart might actually play out.
So this is where it gets really cool. We're going to lock in the moon's position in the Aries Rashi. It's not moving. But then we're going to see how the entire story, the entire destiny, changes just based on where that moon lands in the deeper Navamsa chart.
Let's kick things off with our very first combination. This one's the most straightforward. The moon is in the Aries Rashi, and it's also in the Aries Navamsa. This is what's known as a Vargotama position, and all that means is that the planet's energy is incredibly pure, super strong, and totally amplified.
And the result of this powerful alignment? Well, according to the Mahasagari text, this person will be endowed with a kingdom. We're talking about a leader, a ruler, someone with some serious authority and status.
Okay, now for our next scenario. The moon is still in the Aries Rashi, but this time its Navamsa position shifts over to the earthy, stable sign of Taurus. So here, that steady, grounded energy of Taurus really refines the fiery Aries moon. And what does the Mahasagari text tell us? It says this person will be wealthy, just surrounded by abundance and material prosperity.
Now get ready for a pretty dramatic shift. What happens if the Navamsa is Scorpio? This brings a totally different, really intense, watery kind of energy into the mix. And yeah, the result is the absolute polar opposite of the last one. The Mahasagari text is crystal clear on this. This combination means the person will be poor. A complete 180 in fortune, all because of that one little shift in the Navamsa.
All right, let's explore another path, shall we? Here we've got the moon in Aries Rashi, but now the Navamsa falls in the intellectual, super communicative sign of Gemini. As you might guess, the destiny here is all about the mind. The Mahasagari text says this person will be a scholar, someone dedicated to learning, to knowledge, and to communication. Now, this next combination is where things get really interesting, because it's pretty surprising. We're mixing 2 fire signs, Aries in the Rashi with Leo in the Navamsa. You'd probably expect something grand, something royal, right? Kind of like that first Aries Navamsa. But this is where all the subtleties of the system really shine. The text suggests that fiery, ambitious energy gets, well, diverted. According to Madame Sagari, this combination means the person will be thievish. A totally fascinating and pretty unexpected outcome for sure. But, hey, in contrast, let's look at another fire sign in the Navamsa, Sagittarius. This brings a much more philosophical and righteous kind of fire to that Aries moon. And the outcome reflects this shift perfectly. This combination indicates the person will have an auspicious bearing. You know, they'll carry themselves with a certain dignity, a nobility, and this kind of righteous grace. Okay, next up, we're going to examine the path of the Virgo Navamsa. So here, that impulsive fire of Aries gets filtered through the meticulous, analytical, and earthy energy of Virgo. The result? A certain lack of social grace. The text says they will be devoid of diplomacy, that they just can't quite adapt their speech to the situation or the person. In a word, straightforward, maybe even to a fault. So what happens when the nurturing, emotional, and spiritual sign of Cancer becomes the Navamsa for our Aries moon? This blends fire and water in a really specific way. Well, this person's destiny becomes one of faith and service. The Mahasagari text says they will be devoted to their guru and to the devatas, or divine beings. All that fiery Aries energy gets channeled directly into spiritual devotion. All right, and finally, let's look at our very last combination.
The Aries moon finds its deeper expression in the Navamsa of Tula, or Libra, the sign of balance, harmony, and relationships.
And here, that impulsive energy of Aries is channeled into a quest for perfect equilibrium. The Mahasagari text states this individual will become a master of Yog Shastra, the science of yoga, which is all about uniting and balancing the self.
A ruler, a scholar, wealthy, poor, thievish, devout. I mean, just think about it. 9 totally distinct destinies, and every single one of them originates from a single point in the sky. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Is our path some single fixed point, or is it more like a whole spectrum of potential? A hidden dimension just waiting for us to unlock it?